Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to do a deck profile on my Twinkle Happiness Pacifica deck, or just the Pacifica Bermuda Triangle deck. So originally, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you saw the video. The last Bermuda Triangle deck that I did, I think it was the Coral / Pacifica one. I did mention that Pacifica, I would build the standalone one based off of Pacifica rather than Coral. So this is the one, this is the deck we're talking about. So she's got a reprint. So Twinkle Happiness Pacifica is actually a reprint of a promo card. So this was the only reprint, as far as I know, that was featured in the Winter's Fighters collection. So we'll get into Stride deck later, but for now, so let's get into the main deck. It's Pacifica focused. I must say, I'm actually quite impressed with the support that they gave her. I didn't really think this deck was all that great. I did playtest it. I still feel that Harmony and even to a certain extent Riviere's Legion deck is still slightly more competitive than this one. This one's actually pretty good though. It's like right up there with like Prisms. So for Pacifica Break Ride, 4 of this, because the break ride play is still pretty devastating, and because you'll be striding quite a bit, you can afford to just sit on this for most of the game, and then later on, like after you've done your Olivia play and you've used the Stride Pacifica quite a bit, you can go into the break ride to try to finish out the game, or you can break ride early. It doesn't really matter. It just depends. If you start with this, you have the potential to use the break ride, so that's why I run 4 of it. Next, I run 3 of the cross rides, so 3 Eternal Idle Pacifica. You don't really need to ride this as the first ride. It's okay if you do ride it first, though, because you could potentially soul charge the break ride card into the soul with some cards that do soul charge in this deck. I will get to them. They're support cards that are new. And then you can just use her effect if you can't stride. So Eternal Idle Pacifica is pretty good. She may be, I might bump her up to 4 and drop the break ride to 3, but I feel like the break ride is still pretty good, so I went with this lineup. And then 2 of the original Top Isle Pacifica. So I went with the same setup that I did. If you saw my Die Kaiser deck profile based off of the Stride Fighters collection, I ran the same, very similar grade 3 lineup, where I was running 4 of the Break Ride Die Kaiser, 3 of the Cross Ride Die Kaiser, and 2 of Shadow Kaiser. Shadow Kaiser is like that, the tech support grade 3 that you can call as a rear guard and then use his effect to go in the soul in the Superior Ride Die Kaiser. But Top Isle Pacifica can be used in the same manner. It's just kind of done in the reverse, where if Planet Idol's in the soul, you can put a card from the rear guard into the soul. So usually you want that to be Top Isle Pacifica so you can fix the cross ride. That's assuming you're sitting on Eternal Isle Pacifica. So the deck does have the same capabilities as the Die Kaiser one in that regard. That's why I'm running this 9 grade 3 lineup. And that way I'm not that dependent on running too many stride fodder grade 1s in here, because Bermuda Triangle really does need to use a lot of different tech cards in their grade 2 and grade 1 lineup, so that's the reason why. And because they bounce a lot, they can afford to run the 9 grade 3s. Moving on to grade 2s. 4 of the new support card that Pacifica got from the Fighters collection. So Friend of the Sun, Marlica, and I do want to point out, those wondering, there was a misprint on these cards, at least I guess the first release of this Fighters collection, where it says Soul Counter Charge and Soul Blast. It's actually Counter Charge 1 and Soul Charge 1, which is like what most Bermuda Triangle cards do, kind of like what Rika does for duos. So 4 of this card at 4 is a must do in my opinion if you want a Pacifica deck to be as competitive as possible. This card is just way too essential. She has the same sort of effect on making the deck work in the same way that Blaster Dark Abyss works in Revengers, or even the equivalent of her that came out for Ret, specifically for Duo Temptation Ret, the one that restands. So it's the same sort of card. It's very good. So definitely run 4 copies of it if you're going to actually build this deck. Next, 4 of Duo Dream Idol Sana. I refer to her as the Trader. She betrayed the duos to help Pacifica. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But anyway, Sana is the 12k for Pacifica. So 4 of her, because a lot of times what ends up happening with this deck is if you're using Olivia, for example, you'll return a bunch of stuff. You may want to be able to call, depending on how the opponent's field is, if you want to try to pick up their rear guards. And if they damage checked a lot of triggers, you could try to call like 2 of these down from hand, or maybe like just 1 of these and some other 9k grade 2, maybe her, I don't know. And yeah, try to poke at the Vanguard or this if possible. But anyway, 4 of her, because oftentimes I'll either use this as one of the cards I call back down from Olivia, or she'll be one of the cards that you tutor from the deck with Eternal Isle Pacifica's effect. So for Counterblast 3, just so you can get another beater on the field. So 4 of her is definitely good. You can run 3 if you want, and then you can bump like tech cards up. So next I'm running 2 Unbelievable Girl Potpourri, because she doesn't use any Counterblast. Harmony, she has Harmony, so it can potentially work, sort of, but nothing's too reliant on Harmony in here, except for a certain grade 1. And then I am running my 1 leftover Ideal Walking Weather Amelia. These are just 3 random tech cards that I threw in. This just to help draw. She has Resist, and the Resist effect is not a GB1 skill, so they can't, like, Link Joker can't lock this. They'll go out of their way to try to focus fire this down with their rear guards and stuff, so that's the grade 2 lineup. Grade 2, you can actually mix it up. If you want to run the Amber Clone in here, you can. It's just in my Harmony deck. For grade 1s, 4 Perfect Guard. Doesn't matter what Perfect Guard. I'm just running the traditional, just my leftover Ellie's and then this thing. So, just 4 Perfect Guards. And then next, 3 of one of really important card. 3 superb new students, Shizuku. So Shizuku is in here for many reasons, actually. Originally I was using this with my Coral deck, and I was surprised at how good it was. So it uses Harmony, and when it becomes Harmony, or when it gets Harmony effect on GB1, you can look at the top 5, search for a grade 3 Bermuda, and then reveal it to the opponent and add it to the hand. So she searches out pieces, different Pacifica cards, to help you be able to do her effect, for example, because you have to reveal 3 different Pacificas with 3 different names to unflip and soul charge 1. So that's why she's really good. So she also helps you pick out stride fodder in that regard. So a lot of different uses for this card's effect, I think. So, and then I am running 2 stride enabler grade 1s, just because I had extra space, and that way you don't have to get rid of too many Pacificas too much. Like, for example, if you want a break ride later, this gives you the option to stride with this instead. And then, or if you want to be able to use her effect, you can hold on to 3 Pacificas and you can use that to stride, things like that. So then 2 Prism Image Clear, just as a bounce target to increase something by 4, so you can help hit numbers. Like when she bounces, she can make Sana 16 and stuff like that. And then 2 Apprentice Idle Karen, just for more draw power. So when she's bounced, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw a card. You do Soul Charge potentially because of this, and because of the Break Rise effect to move things in the Soul, and because you may be Break Riding. So you will have Soul to be able to use that. For grade 0s, 1 Cooking Caspi, just as an extra draw trigger. So total of 4 draw triggers. The only reason why Caspi's in here, I kind of think it's like the good luck draw trigger, because I always seem to damage check this instead of get this on my twin drive or triple drive. So I don't know, but it should be 4 draws. It's just because I only have 7 of the Margle clone Fundy. The other 4 are in my Riviere deck. So, and that deck is way more reliant on the soul than this one. And then 8 criticals. Doesn't matter what criticals. There's a lot of them available. 4 heals. And then the starter is Finger Magic Mako. So, thing I like about Mako, you can run Akari if you want. Mako is in here because the deck is not way too reliant on soul. And on top of that, I like that she doesn't use any counterblast, and she just helps you. It helps add an extra 10k shield to your hand. So It's not bad. All you need to do is literally select stride once, and then you can use her effect to bounce every turn. So she can't get locked that easily. She may get locked like one time, but then after that, she can't really get locked. So that's the main deck. For the stride deck, it's very straightforward. For Twinkle, Happiness, Pacifica, this card is actually pretty easy to get. It's not that pricey at all, because Pacifica is not considered a competitive Bermuda Triangle deck like Harmonies. But it's still a pretty fun deck. So, and also it's kind of a reprint, I think. So yeah, that helps too. So for Twinkle, Happiness, Pacifica, if you only have two, you can only it's okay. You can run two. The deck will still function. You just substitute some other strides in there. But for Twinkle, Happiness, Pacifica, and then two Olivia, because I only have two, and I don't know what is up with her price right now, but she has, like, the price of this card has skyrocketed so much that it just makes me feel like GRs are such a stupid thing in Vanguard right now. So yeah, good luck to anyone trying to build Messiah, at least competitively, because of all those GRs. And then one Fluffy Ribbon Somni, just as an extra Bermuda Triangle. It doesn't really matter. You can run Blizza in here if you want. This thing has to hit for it to actually use its effects, so it's not really that effective. And you won't really stride it that much, if at all, in most games. And then one Legend of the Glass Shoe Amoris. So she can actually be pretty good if you have the setup, like for example, to bounce this, or to even bounce this. So that's why I feel like Amoris is actually pretty decent, because it doesn't have to hit or do anything. So sometimes I do actually stride that, but if I don't want to use up too much counterblast, or like if I have this thing and I don't have enough counterblast, like let's say I only have like one counterblast for some reason, then I might stride Amoris over Pacifica. So I can use this and then just reuse this. So yeah. Ideally, I guess the best lineup would be 4 Olivia and 4 Pacifica, or maybe like 2 Pacifica, 4 Olivia, and then like these, like 2 of these. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think is the best stride deck for the Pacifica deck. I feel like mine is actually pretty optimal because I have the Olivia play, I have these 2 for potential like 2 more strides, and I have this so I can stride a total of 5 times. So yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of Pacifica in terms of the current deck, the meta that revolves around the current, I don't know, like whatever's good, Royal Paladins and stuff like that. So how viable do you think Bermuda Triangle is? I feel like they're a pretty good counter to Link Joker, but Messiah doesn't really care too much. So yeah, guys, let me know, and hope you guys enjoyed that video, and stay tuned for more Cardfight Vanguard videos in the future, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.